Hey lovies, welcome back if you end up coming back. So I started a reading, and what's happening? And it just like I got bounced out of it and couldn't go back into it. Yet if I try to click on the reading itself, it's saying that the reading is still alive. So it's very strange. I have no idea what's happening. And I did say, I was like, I called it. I was like, something feels a little bit weird because of how the energy felt. And then, like, I was saying, like, I hear sirens and I heard dead on arrival. And then all this other stuff started happening. So I don't know. But welcome back if you guys were already tuning in. I hope that you guys do come back around. Um, excuse me. For those of you who are new, um, welcome, and I hope that you like what you see here. Decide to stick around and hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, because clearly there's a message here. Okay. um, there's something happening. I can't put my finger on it just yet, but there's something that needs to be delivered in terms of a message. Hey, Monique, and I'm happy you're back again, Margaret. Oh wow, that's crazy. See? I love when people are able to say, "Oh, everything you said, there's confirmation." That makes me happy. That you saw ladybugs. I remember when I read for you. And yeah, that it's heartwarming. That really is though. I always say that. Like that's one of my happiest things when people could come back and be like, "Oh yeah," like especially if they had like a private reading or a personal reading and can say like, "Oh yes, yes, that happened." Like, yeah, lets me know that I'm doing what I need to do and I am tapping into the energies and all that. So, with all that said, we're gonna do a continuation of what we already were looking at, and basically what I was picking up on initially was, um, I'm getting that a lot of you guys, in terms of love, might be just feel like there's like this stuck energy, like there's not really much movement, um, and just trying to figure out what is happening, where are things going, is there going to be any changes, or are there going to be any changes, so on and so forth, and just feeling like it's like really stuck. And like I said before, the other one crashed out. The other reading I was working on, I wasn't on that long, thankfully. Um, but right before it crashed out, I was picking up on I there was a siren in the background, and then like I heard the words "dead on arrival," and I felt a stuck energy. And I was saying how like some of you guys just might be feeling like you're just a little bit lost, whether just in general when it comes to love, or like there could be a past situation that's kind of trying to, and circumstances that are trying to kind of repeat themselves and come back around and are kind of hindering the progression when it comes to love. I'm getting something like that. And there could be somebody possibly watching you, is what was on the bottom of the deck here. I didn't move anything. I left everything exactly as it was. And you guys are just working on yourselves right now, doing your own thing. Um, yeah, so yeah, you're focusing on, we have beliefs here. It says similar or clashing belief systems can bring you together or keep you apart. So for some of you, it could be like you dealt with somebody who, you had very different, belief systems that, kept you, drifting apart. And for others, I'm getting maybe you might be focusing more on your own like beliefs and your own belief systems, like, you know let's say if you're tapping more into, religion or spirituality, whatever, like, you know whatever the case might be for you at this time. It's kind of like, okay, well, if things don't align with who I am right now and where I'm going with that, 444, when I said that, like, it is kind of like, you don't want to be involved with those kind of circumstances, which is perfectly okay, and that's exactly what you should do. So it could make you feel like you're a little bit stuck in terms of love, because it's like, okay, well, if people are not aligning with where you are currently when it comes to your belief systems and your values, it makes you feel like, okay, well, damn, am I ever going to meet somebody who, aligns with that? And that's okay, right? Because, it's kind of a way to like weed out the fakes. It's a way to weed out the people who are not going to, be a part of your path at this time, especially when it comes to love and romance. All right, tell us more. Tell us more. I still can't believe how it just like the whole thing just completely like crashed out, and then like it would like not let me go back into the reading, even though it still said it was live. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's my own reading, so I should be able to go back into it. It wouldn't let me. I was like, this is some bullshit. So I had to start a whole thing. Hey Laverne, how are you? All right, so we have, whoa, this is a lot of cards. Do I want to take all of these? Actually, yes, I will take all of them. All right, so what I'm getting, and like I said, it's a lot of cards that came out together, but I feel connected to them, so I'm going to take them. This was a part of a karmic connection. This was something that had to happen a certain way in order for you guys to learn lessons that needed to be learned with this past situation, is more so what I'm getting. So I'm getting that no idea what that is. My ear is ringing like crazy at the same time too, so bear with me. So I do feel like you guys had to kind of like surrender a connection. You had to let go and say, okay, yeah, nah, this ain't it. This is not what it's cracked up to be. This could have happened somewhat recently, or like, and when I say recently, I mean like I'm getting fall vibes, or it could just be saying like, the fall is about like a sense of surrender, right, and release. So it could be representing that, but I'm also getting like something could have happened for some of you in the fall time, because we did see the winter card early in the other part of the reading that for whatever reason got shot down. So we have detach, trust, free fall, have faith, that all will be well. So, by releasing and surrendering, control of the circumstances and being able to say, okay, I'm just going to let these kind of, happen the way that it's supposed to, hurt the wayside. Let things fall at the wayside. Exactly what's meant to happen is going to happen. And I'm getting that, you guys might have went through a sense of denial for a while. Bars. Not facing truth, irrational reasoning, tried to make excuses for things that were happening and things like that, and that was part of the reason why this karmic lesson was so difficult to let go of. But the thing is, it's like as you started to see things for what it was, with these synchronicities that started to happen, it allowed for you to be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm starting to kind of get this realization here that maybe these are just things that I should not compromise my overall well-being for, right? When it comes to love, we should try to meet somebody in the middle, and sometimes you just can't. We have mutual understanding, flexibility, give and take brings rewards. But sometimes, if a person is not willing to meet you halfway and not be where you are currently as well, it does not work out the way that's supposed to. Excuse me. And unfortunately, that could make you feel a little bit crushed, sad, broken, and feeling alone. And it's ironic because there's a bike on the in that picture there, and then we have inner child here. So for some of you, take it as it resonates and leave it if it doesn't. But some of you, like, this could stem from inner child wounds, that maybe I'm getting people who might have witnessed like their parents going through stuff and things like that, um, and are also learning some of those lessons as well. But the big picture here is like not compromising your overall well-being or happiness for another person if they're in a toxic headspace and doing bullshit that you just that you don't see suiting you. We have legal here. It says court paperwork and files. What I'm actually getting with this one though is more like, especially with that karmic card that came up, I'm getting this is more so like about balancing the scales. Some of you might have Libra in your chart or have a strong connection to a Libra. Um, but it's I'm getting more so this is about like being able to say, okay, I have to pick up these pieces and make them fit. I have to make these pieces, I heard deemed possible. I have to make it deemed possible for these pieces to fit together so that I can do what I need to do to pick up these pieces and balance them out, which is really difficult when you're carrying dead weight. And this put you in a place of having to make a choice. We have crossroads here. Divergent paths, choices, confusion, follow your intuition here on the bottom of the deck. Ironically enough, some people did leave the chat, and that's perfectly okay. It says one person here and three likes, and that will represent 13. And 13 represents the death card in tarot, which also represents endings that bring new beginnings or rebirth. So I'm kind of getting this energy of folks who are severing ties from things of the past that they had to make a really hard decision about, and it was not an easy decision to make, but this is something that's going to allow for something more positive and beautiful to happen in your life when it comes to love, is what I'm kind of picking up on there. Let's get like two or three more from here. If the messages are resonating, let me know in the comments, or you can hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, you could subscribe. That would be awesome. Trying to hit that 500 mark. Very small channel here, but I would love to get to that point on my channel. I think that would give me a little motivation to keep pushing. Sometimes I think about just letting this shit go. I'm not even gonna hold you. Um, we have a couple cards that came out together. We have Grip, and this was in the very initial part of the reading that I started. That YouTube just said, "Oh, we're just gonna cut the whole fucking reading off," and I had to restart basically. But this was one of the first energies that showed up, and it says anchor, chains, and weighed down, along with insatiable, unquenchable, and wanting more. So I'm kind of getting that there. One of the things that could be like a little bit of a hindrance or something that make you feel heavy or weighed down, or something from the past. Even like if it's not your own personal energy, it could be somebody from your past. I'm getting like I'm kind of getting a little bit of like sex addiction kind of thing. That's not gonna resonate with everybody, but I am getting and picking up on that. Like that could have been something that was like kind of causing a little bit of a disturbance. And we have rise above here again. Drama, obstacles, pettiness, and find the strength to rise. So let's say if you were in a relationship, right, and it was very sex driven, and that was like the focal point of the relationship, realizing that that was not, the healthiest relationship, and realizing that there was not really much else there that was concrete or stable, being able to understand like, okay, there's a little bit of a grip here, no pun intended, 1414. There's a little bit of a grip here when it comes to like this, hold that this has, and being able to say, okay, I have to kind of release that. I have to let that go, because sex is not going to fix your relationship. It just isn't. I've been there, tried to do that, and it does not work. So it's like, you're in a relationship with somebody who, they know how to slang it, or they know how to put it on you. They got the wet, like whatever. I get a little, vocal on this channel. But I'm being honest, I'm very honest on here. That could have been one of the things that, kind of caused a little bit of a setback within progressing when it comes to love. So being able to understand that sex does not fix everything, and it is not going to be the, you know, end all be all type of thing. Like, you have to make sure there's something of substance there. You have to be on the same page. 15-15. Like, you can't just have sex all the time and think everything's gonna be great. Because the thing is, it's like, you can confuse that person as a soulmate. We have soulmates, similar friendship and romantic partner. So it's like, you don't want to hold on to those grips and then lose out on somebody who is like actually somebody who could be a soulmate for you. You have nightlife, yeah, you might have been just having fun and, you know, getting attached to people, um or somebody in your past could have been like that. Gamble, take a risk, and Vegas, like party animal type energy. Let's get one more from here. I think I'm gonna cut this reading a little bit short. A little disappointed that um it's funny because it's like this, the second part of this reading being that, you know, unfortunately the thing got shut off. There was a good amount of people, and now this one, it's like no movement, but it's fine. um and now there's another siren. What would be the odds of this one shutting off by itself too? All right, so we have three cards that came out. We have children. It says young, childhood, and playful, along with alien, telepathic, dreams, and songs. And I was just telling my son before I went on the reading, I was like, I'm getting a channeled message in the form of a song. He was like, what is it? I was like, it's Prince and the Revolution, from the Purple Rain soundtrack. And the song is called Computer Blue. So I don't know if any of you guys are Prince fans or not, or fans of like the movie Purple Rain, but I was picking up on that prior to this. We have retaliation, punishment, payback, and revenge. So I'm getting a lot of different energies because there was three cards that came out together. Let me just see something real quick. Ascend, history. Yeah, something from the past. Like, yeah, racing, avoiding, and running. Like, there's somebody from your past that you're trying to avoid. For some of you, this is not going to resonate with everybody, but for some of you, you might even have kids with this person. And this person, like, you have a really strong connection to them, but like you're trying to move past that because you might have like, or you might be trying to build connections with another person or other people, seeing where, like, you know, your love life can kind of lead. You feel guided to do so, but you might be feeling like, damn, like if I move on, like, will this person, you know, try to like do something to me, like, or they might have threatened. In some cases, this seems very specific. Threatened to like do something. I've been through that before, so that hit a little bit hard because I said that, because that's not gonna be for everyone. That seems very specific, but you're just trying to rise above all of the bullshit, the childish bullshit of people, you know, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do this," and then not seeing any results. Yeah, these cards wanted to come on. I'm gonna take them. It's not a lot of cards, but it's just the fact that a whole bunch of cards had to flip or come out of my hands for just these two to flip. That means that they were meant to come out. So we have projected here, future, days, weeks, months. So this is, for some of you, this is like happening right now, because we did see the winter card in the other reading that I started, that, you know, is supposed to be this reading. So this is like something that's happening pretty recent, or there's stuff happening in the near future. And we have outcome, results, conclusion, ending. You will get a resolution. So something's about to happen for some of y'all when it comes to this situation, whatever this is. Like, I really feel like it's like a past person who's like that pull that won't go away. And it's like, yeah, we have plugged, tuned in, internet, and connected. Yeah, there's like a connection between you and somebody from, I'm getting your past, that you're just like, I need to remove myself from this. They really want you to also focus on like having fun with like family and doing like more lighthearted things, because some of you guys might work a lot and stuff and just haven't really had a time to do that. We have a send here again. It says expansion, evolution, universal intelligence, and stay tuned, or sorry, stay connected to spirit. So I don't know, like it seems like there's just a lot going on. But nonetheless, I don't know. It's like it's weird because it's like I'm not really getting new energy so much. It's more like, excuse me. It's more like a old pattern or person trying to come back around. You guys are trying to like remove yourself from it, but they keep on lingering. And it's like, and that's the thing that makes it difficult, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm trying to remove myself. Yeah, see, coffin. As I split the deck for this other, split the deck for these cards here. We have endings, bring new beginnings. I literally just said that. Growth, change, liberation, and transition. So it's like, and that's just from me splitting the deck. Like literally, as soon as I split the deck, that's what came up. So it's like, I'm guessing I'm getting a little bit of confirmation there. It's like they're like, look, there's this old energy lingering around and trying to, watch you and, send messages like telepathically and shit like that. And, they might even have a little bit of a mean streak to them, like wanting to get some type of revenge or something. Or, they might be the type that, like, as soon as they see you moving on, they might try to do a pop up to see, oh, who's this chick or dude that you're with, or you know what I mean, like that type of shit. Are you actually happy, like that kind of thing? And it's like you're doing your own thing, minding your own business, and this person wants to come in with some bullshit. Yeah, and I'm getting that you used to chase after this person. You used to, because we have runner here in the reverse. Now they're about to run after you. They might have been a narcissist. Runner in a codependent relationship, fear of intimacy, and listening to ego. It's in the reverse. I feel like at one point you guys might have, chased after this runner, and now they're about to run after you. And it's like, sounds like a personal problem to me, buddy. um, let's get a few from here. It's just like, I don't even think I need to actually pull any tarot, because like maybe that's why, like when I initially pulled my decks out, like if you were to watch the beginning of what I did here for this reading, I had actually forgot to pull one of my tarot decks. I had a whole bunch of other decks ready and loaded, ready to go, and I completely forgot my tarot. But I don't even feel connected to the tarot at this time. Like everything I feel like is just gonna come out in the oracle. Girl with a snake, empath and narcissist paradigm, being charmed or used, enable, and boundaries. So I feel like some of you guys had to set some boundaries with this person from your past. Um, yeah, so now you guys are kind of in a talking stage with somebody, or might get to that point. Bottom of the deck, interested, conversing more. Awaited message arrives. Text, call, email, and hoovering. So that's here on the bottom. So I'm getting like, as you guys realize what that dynamic was, and we did get like a karmic energy that did show up. Um, you learned what this person really truly was and were able to move on. And now you're like, okay, well, I'm about to do my own thing. Not being stuck on, anybody in their BS. Okay, we got a couple cards that came out. Yep. And this goes back to what I said before. We have seduction, attraction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation, third party interference. And that came out along with addiction. Remember I said somebody may have a sex addiction, codependent, obsession, uh, possession, controlling, and has a block and restraint. These are all things I already said. That's why I'm like, I don't even think I need the tarot. I might pull still just because, but we'll see. Yeah, see? Somebody dealt with a narcissist. It says the golden mirror, self-absorbed, narcissist, one-sided relationship, and love bombing. So like I feel like this is something that happened in the past for some of you guys who relate to this. dealt with somebody who was like a narcissist. I know that term gets thrown around very loosely, but definitely dealt with somebody who was like love bombing and all that, gaslighting and that type of stuff. And a lot of it was based around sex. And you had to start realizing what that relationship really truly was. Let me know in the comment section if it relates and you resonate with it. Let me know through emojis, anything, reactions, hitting that like button. All those things are really, really helpful. We have date here. It says meeting someone new, dating, getting back out there, planning and setting a date. So I did say very early on, again, you would have to probably go to the reading prior to this that I started, that technically is a part of this reading. um, I was saying, like, some of you guys might be trying to get back in there, get back into the field, and it's like, it's definitely like a little bit, concerning sometimes, because you're like, if you haven't been out there in a while, you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, am I ready for all that? Like, but Spirit is basically saying, this is a time to be able to say, okay, I think I want to take that leap of faith and kind of put myself back out there into the dating world. We have passion here on the bottom, insane chemistry, like each other equally, and having fun. So you might meet somebody who you feel a great sense of passion with. The dragonfly. Be lighthearted, finding out things coming to light, adapt, change, and heal. So I feel like they're kind of saying, in the process of of healing, right? You've been learning more about what it is that you want, adapting a little bit, and being able to say, okay, well, I feel a little bit more comfortable with the idea of putting myself out there and seeing, what's available. And thus being able to say, okay, well, I might meet somebody who I have a little bit of sense of, connection and passion with. And going from there, seeing what happens, being lighthearted about it. You don't have to go overly serious about it or whatever. Now, granted, I am a firm believer, at least at my big age, um, of dating with purpose. Um, but everybody's in different places in in their life, right? So just date in the sense of what I'm picking up right now is dating in the sense of what suits you right now. So if you feel like you really want something serious, then date with a lot of purpose. Don't go dating people who there's no real connection with. If you're dating more so just to have fun and get back out there and things like that, that's perfectly fine too. Whatever suits you at this time. Take the messages as they resonate, but just make sure that you're enjoying yourself and also being discerning at the same time. Hope that makes sense. Spirit wanted me to put that out there and put a little emphasis on that. All right, so let's get maybe two more from this deck. What we got? The Phoenix. New phase, rekindle, renew, transformation, growth, changed mind. Yes. So you guys are like growing, right? Expanding, working on yourself during the dating process. Or if you decide that you want to go back into the dating world, if you haven't done so already, yeah. And this is after a period of, separation. So that's acts. Breakup, separation, stop the pattern. Yes, stop the pattern. I talked about something about patterns earlier. Silent treatment and abandonment. So, if you've been feeling like, I just don't want to keep repeating patterns, like they're saying, the key here is being able to learn from mistakes. If you know that you have repeated a lot of patterns that you don't want to keep on repeating, make sure that you bring those into, the next phases when it comes to dating. So prime example, like if one of your, because one of the things that did show up in this reading so far is there could be, for some of you, again, take it as it resonates and leave it if it's 2929. So I'm saying this, take it as it resonates. But for some of you who might resonate with the idea of having a strong attachment to sex, and putting a lot of emphasis on that in relationships. You meet somebody, You start dating them, and then, the sex is great, and then you're like, wow, I'm like really stuck on this person. Is it just because of lust and sex, or is it because you actually are connected to them? Those are two different things. And again, it's one of those kind of things where it's like, okay, what is this, a pattern? Is this something that you've repeated in the past? Is it something that you're trying, a cycle that you're trying to break? So I am getting that for somebody. The other thing that I'm picking up on too, though, like, it hasn't showed up. Oh, look at that! Look, you can't make this shit up. This is here on the bottom of, on the top of the deck. I just happened to decide to look. And we talked about karmic relationships before. Fleeting triggers, turmoil, resentment, lessons, exactly, letting go and loving you. You can't make this up even if you wanted to. Like, I just now saw this card. I wasn't even gonna look at the top, and I just decided to look. Let's see what's in the middle too. Yeah, kisses, but it's in the reverse. Unconditionally loving, giving and receive. Yep, see, giving and receiving affection and falling in love. Now, see, what I was about to say before I even looked at those cards was I was picking up on the vibe of individuals who possibly are over givers in relationships and tend to, constantly overextend themselves to the point of depletion. And that is not healthy. That's not good, right? Hey, how are you? I don't have my glasses on. Fan of Nora, I think is your name. Hello. um, but yes, so I'm getting something like that also, and that goes back to that karmic lessons, right? And it's like, everybody's gonna have different karmic lessons that they've had to learn throughout dating experiences, right? As you grow and expand to be ready for love, when it comes in your direction. Let's get one more from here. Like I said, if this is resonating with you guys, let me know in the comments. Since this is just a collective right now, I'm not doing personals or private readings. Um, so if it's making sense, if it's resonating, let me know. All right, we got a couple. I like this. I like this energy a lot because it's definitely going back to what I was saying about this healing energy. We have self-indulgence. It says focus on self-worth, time to heal, shadow work, self-appreciation. Ironically, I almost took out my shadow work deck, or one of them, I should say, because I have a few. But I looked at it and I like skimmed over it because I felt connected to a love reading tonight. The butterfly, relationship evolving to the next phase, healing the inner child. Remember, I mentioned something about feeling like something about inner child energy. I said that. If you were to rewind, you will see it. Um, yeah, healing inner child and growth. So, everybody's in different phases and stages right now. But one of the things I did pick up on too, like when it came to like this energy of like, karmic relationships and stuff like that. A little bit of overindulgence, a little bit of, codependency. I was picking up on a lot of different things, but one of the other things that I did pick up on that I did make mention of was something about, something about the childhood. I definitely felt that too. And now we have a little bit of confirmation with that because it's like, everybody, like I said, everybody's going through different things. And it's like, I for one can say, one of the things that I still, am learning about when it comes to love is, I unfortunately, grew up in a household where it wasn't the most positive, romantic relationship between my parents. Like they are individually amazing people. I love my parents. But when it comes to them as a collective unit, it was not what I would want in a romantic relationship at all. It was not good. It was very toxic. And it was not something that a child should witness. So with that said, some of you guys might relate, whether it was like in the form of some type of abuse or just it wasn't healthy, whatever the case. Some of you might resonate with that too. Yeah, coffin, right? Endings that bring new beginnings. You guys are closing out those old cycles so that you guys can welcome in something positive. Yeah. No more chasing after, hopes and dreams and fallacies. Like you're running after the things that actually make sense. The sword and the rose, clarity, truth, revelation, solidarity, force, honor, protection, and power here in the middle of the deck. So you guys are learning more about who you are, what you want, and honoring that, which is really, really positive. Um, I'm trying to think. Where do I want to go with this? Because I could read from the tarot, but I don't really feel connected to it, to be honest with you. It's almost like I feel like what's come out is what you guys needed to see. I just want to put emphasis on it, but I don't know if the tarot is gonna do that. Let's fuck it. Let's let's pull a few from here. I'm gonna do like a kind of like a whatever happens or whatever comes out kind of thing. Yeah, on the bottom of the deck before I even shuffle or anything, we have the star, which is about having a sense of hope. It's also about healing a broken heart, right? When I split the deck, it might be hard to see that. Three of Swords. Um, so, healing a broken heart and, trying to remain optimistic and positive throughout all of it. Easier said than done, of course, right? There's a couple more shuffles. And then we'll do a little whatever comes out. Yeah. Six of Pentacles. Remember, I said something about some individuals who might be overgivers. That's about generosity. So the fact that, that's showing up after I said something about it just a little while ago, like you might feel like you've overextended and overgave in a lot of connections when it comes to romance. And learning how to, decipher or, discern when is it appropriate. I heard the word applicable. Like when should you, give so much of yourself? Yeah, this is a time of standing your ground. We have a Seven of Wands here, standing your ground, because you're learning again how to not overextend. Tell us more. And it might have taken a little while to get to this point, and that's perfectly fine, right? You're in that healing process, healing mode. Yeah. And this is something that you had to make a conscious effort and decision about. Two of Swords. Like, this wasn't just something that you just, did all willy-nilly. Like, you had to really think about it hard to be able to say, I'm going to finally pick myself when it comes to self-love, growth, expansion, and then that's when I will feel like I am available for someone when it comes to romance and love. So this is giving me like self-love journey type of energy. Like you guys have just really been focusing really hard on that. Something wanted to come out but didn't actually come out. So let's see what happens. If it's meant to come out, it will. But yeah, like what we got here. Challenging position. Yeah, you're laying down your burdens. We have the Ten of Wands here. It came out crossing. So, you guys are at this I heard pivotal point. You're at a pivotal point right now where you're letting go and releasing the things that no longer serve you. And again, it's rough, right? Because it's like, when you're used to certain things, you're used to ways people treat you, or just the things that you've overall welcomed into your life, and you're learning how to, break that down and say, okay, these are not the things that I want to keep holding on to anymore. It takes time, and it's a process, and that would explain why that's coming out crossing, because you haven't fully let go of everything yet. You're still learning, you're still working on it, but you're doing a damn good job. And at the end of the day, like, this is what's coming towards you, this Ace of Pentacles. Like, Spirit wants you to know, like, it will not all be in vain. All the things that you've been doing and working on, the self expansion and self growth, like self love that you've been working on, like, as you continue to work on laying down those burdens and letting that shit go, the things that no longer serve you, there are things that are coming in. But they just want you to understand the purpose and importance of being mindful of how generous you are, because you guys have such a giving heart. Yeah. And this is a part of your shadow work. The moon here in the middle of the deck. Like, This is a part of your shadow work. This is something that they want you to understand about yourself, because this is something that I feel like has been kind of a repeated pattern. And I did see that energy show up in the reading, and I mentioned it earlier. Let's get a few more from here. And then that'll be the end of the reading. Um, Being that I don't really see like an actual partner showing up in terms of love. This is more of a self-love journey kind of thing I'm picking up on. I might not pull from the other cards that are here. I might pull from one other deck, and that might be it, maybe two, and that'll be it. All right, so we have the Four of Swords. So there's, this energy of needing to take a break and rest. Working on your healing process before you allow yourself to welcome love into your life in that way, in that capacity. Um, Allow yourself to just rest, you know? There's no rush, There's no rush, They want you to stand in your confidence with this Queen of Wands. Some of you might have fire in your chart. They want you to really stand on that. Stand on business when it comes to what it is that you want, and mean it, own it. And don't be afraid to be assertive, you know? That could be a part of, the healing process right there, just being able to, say, hey, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. That's not an easy thing to do. Um, so give yourself kudos if you're learning how to set those healthy boundaries and say, hey, I'm not playing these games. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done, trust me, and I get it. So Spirit wants to put a little bit of emphasis on that. They want you to know that your efforts are recognized. Yeah, High Priestess. They want you to make sure that you're very discerning about what it is that you want, how you feel, honoring those internal, not thoughts, but internal gut instincts and things like that. You have, this intuition that, lets you know when something feels off, and they want you to honor that. Like if you're one of those people who sweep things under the rug constantly, they're like, look, no, this is a time to let that go. This is a time to be able to say, you know what, nope, what I feel is what I feel, and I'm gonna honor that shit, because there's a reason why I'm feeling this way. um Sometimes people think, oh no, I'm just paranoid, or like, no. Mm-mm. And don't let people gaslight you into believing that you're doing that shit either, because the shit that you're feeling is the shit that's hidden from you, and you feel it, you know it. They want you to acknowledge it with this moon card here again. Yep. It's not an illusion. They want you to honor your intuition. Yep, and intuition is on both of those cards. I'm just letting you know. So some of you guys actually might be psychic yourself, and you're doubting your abilities or something. Yeah, you're doubting your abilities with the Seven of fucking Cups. No, this is a time to, yeah. I just heard manipulation. There might be people who like try to manipulate or gaslight you into, like, thinking that your feelings or thoughts and intuition and all that stuff are off and they're not accurate, so on and so forth. Like, fuck that shit. They want you to honor the fact that what you're feeling is what you're feeling, and don't back out on it. Call people's bluff when they're saying some BS to you, and you know that something ain't right. Fucking no. No more of that, wishy-washy. Oh no, I'm just, being paranoid, or yeah, I'm bugging. Like, no. Or letting people make you think that you are. No. Fuck out of here. Because you've been through enough already. You've learned enough lessons with this Three of Swords here. You've learned enough lessons to know when something ain't right. Listen to that. Honor it. Let's get a couple more from here. I hope you guys are resonating with this reading. If you're resonating, please hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Would greatly appreciate all of that. Trying to slowly get up to the 500 subscribers mark. Very, very slow moving, but I also have not been as consistent as I should be. So there's also that. So the card that came out and tried to hide, we have Four of Wands here. So I'm getting a couple of different energies from this card. I'm getting like twin flame journey type vibes. I'm also just getting like something when it comes to overall like family dynamics and stuff like that. So the people that are really close to you, like within your community, family, friends, and maybe their opinions of things or something like that. Again, with this King of Wands, we had Queen of Wands before, now we have King of Wands. So I'm getting like, you know, this, some of you guys might have fire in your chart, but I'm getting this energy of being able to, yep, and that's the truth. Spirit is confirming what I'm about to say. They want you to be very concrete about what it is that you want. You know, there might be people who will try to, you know, steer you in different directions, make you, you know, look at things from a perspective that just is not yours. And this is a time for you when it comes to what you want, standing on fucking business. Because that was one of the first energies that we saw, was that standing on business energy. Yeah, this was actually the first card of the tarot, right? Standing your ground and being firm in that. And that's a hard decision to make. The next card was this one. You know, like that's a hard decision to make, to be able to say, you know what, I'm not going to listen to anybody else's opinions other than my own right now. It's not easy to do. Yeah. People within your life, you know, this 3 of Pentacles, you know, people who are close to you, you know, whether it's friends, family, so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm getting more so like, you know, just honoring what it is that you want. One more from the tarot, Spirit. um yeah, no more wishy-washy BS, you know, like this is a time for you to honor yourself and what's important to you, because I feel like a lot of you guys have done the opposite for a long time, worried about everybody else's opinion. And it's like, you know, at the end of the day, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. So it's like, is it even worth, you know, 46 as I'm saying that, like, is it even worth the drama, right, of other people and their, you know, their nonsense? So the 3 cards that came out, you know, we have 3 of Wands here, which is giving me this energy of, you know, leaving things behind, right? Planning ahead, seeing things from a new perspective and saying, okay, I'm going to move in this new, you know, direction in my life. Is this easy? Absolutely fucking not. Is it going to be hard? Yes. But, you know, when you realize that there are some, like, you waited for, you know, so long for these things to happen in your life, for these transitions to happen. And now it's like, you know what, I'm going to, you know, hone in on that, and I'm going to honor it, and I'm going to stand firm in those things and cut everything else off that doesn't belong, with this Queen of Swords here. Like cutting everything off at its source. Anything that doesn't fit the narrative of your life where you're trying to go right now, anything that makes you feel a place of lack. We talked about that earlier too. 5 of Pentacles. Anything that makes you feel a sense of lack, like, no thank you. Like you're like, I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm good. Yep, taking that leap of faith into the unknown. And it's like, it's scary, and it's like you don't know where it's going, but you can't make it up even if you wanted to. You have King of Wands here again showing up. So they definitely, I keep getting this Wands energy with you guys. Like, yeah. They're like, remain optimistic, right? And hopeful. Work on that healing, but understand that this is definitely a time for you guys to be able to hone in on what it is that you want/need. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of energy around you guys right now when it comes to love, and being able to, you know, say, this is something that I want and I'm going to honor that. And I ironically take out this deck here, and on the bottom of the deck, before I even shuffled, it says fear of your power, fear of your own power, right? Power has been quietly developing inside you, waiting to be claimed, almost like calmed, waiting to be claimed, but fear is stopping you. It's time to own your strength and unleash your magic. Exactly. And I talked about like that sense of strength earlier. Like you might feel a little bit weak or something like that. Like you might feel vulnerable, and then that's where the shame comes in. Shame wraps you in a cloak of lonely silence, convincing you that your flaws define you. Expose the shame to light. Only then can you begin to heal and alter the course of your destiny. Exactly. So let's get maybe like two or three from here. And then to close out, I'm going to read from the Angel Answers Oracle, and that will be the end of this reading. Because again, this was just a collective. I do hope that you guys who popped in and or stuck around um, got something out of it. I hope it resonated. Greatly appreciate all of those of you who did pop in. Um, I know like the original reading got shut off prior to this one. I wasn't that far into it, but like I was like, are you fucking kidding? You can't make this shit up. It was just crazy because like I was saying, excuse me, and feeling things. I was like, I heard dead on arrival, then I heard a siren. It was just like a lot going on, and then the whole message just like went kaput. So if you want to check that little brief moment out prior to this reading, you can. I think it's posted. I don't know. I'll have to see how that works. But anywho, look, and this is after I shuffled. Y'all heard all that shuffling I just did. It's still there. Again, fear of your power. Oh my goodness. You can't make this shit up even if you wanted to. And people say, oh, I don't believe in tarot's bullshit. I'm like, man, you can't. This is not mere coincidences. Like, you cannot make this stuff just happen. You really can't. Um, but anywho, what we got? Ancient history. We had a history card that showed up in the other deck too, like way early in the reading. You wish things were different, but the past cannot be altered. Focusing on the present is more productive and will support the changes you wish to see. I almost said challenges, but yeah, understanding that water over the bridge, water under the bridge. Like life happens, let that stuff be the past and move forward. Take the applicable knowledge that you gained from those experiences, like uh, prime example, setting boundaries. What we got? It says boundaries. This opportunity will constantly push you to compromise your boundaries. Maintain and respect your limits to protect your well-being while also being an example of strength. We talked about strength earlier. So I'm getting that, by setting healthy boundaries, you're teaching other people in your life when it comes to these circumstances, whether it's romance or anything else, really. Like, you know, your boundaries are not something that can be pushed. So that's where the line is drawn. Like once you establish that and show that to people, that allows for you to be able to have productive relationships in your life and things like that within yourself as well. Honoring that and respecting that about you, right? Easier said than done. I feel like we all have our moments where a lot of us, anyway, who are very giving people, and I was talking about that earlier, overextenders, and overgivers, right? Having that hard time with setting healthy boundaries. It's very difficult because you want to be there and show up for everybody the way that you want them to show up for you. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out like that. It's not always reciprocal. So let's get one more from here. I'm gonna read from one more deck, and that'll be the end. What we got? What we got? Two cards that came out. Yeah. All right. So we have dependent. You rely on others, and I did talk about possible codependency for some. You rely on others, and it's stopping you from claiming your power. Strength comes from self-reliance. You can and will do it, and you just have to try. Interesting. So what I'm getting is like I did just talk about like codependency, so that could be one of the issues that has been established, one of the lessons that you've been having to learn at this time. We also have anger here. Like you can't allow yourself to be mad at people for your codependency, right? At the end of the day, the key component there is the co part, right? Co is a prefix that lets you know that there's a cooperation there. So if you want to really call it that, but like there's a sense of cooperation, right? And People who are codependent on each other, they, coming from like a psychological point of view, like they happen to have something about each other that they need, air quotes, 54 as I said that. They feel like they need it. And so usually how codependent relationships work is like, you have the one person who, and I mean, they could look different depending on the circumstances, but one example would be, you have one person who they know that the person that they're with relies on them for a sense of, say, stability or feeling confident about themselves or something like that, right? So if that person were to all of a sudden become self-reliant or have a whole bunch of, confidence within themselves, this is just an example, all of a sudden, now they don't feel like they are important in that relationship. So that sense of codependency starts to show up because like they rely on that person to make them feel needed and valued, if that makes any sense. That's usually how codependent relationships work. That's at least one example. So you can't be angry when a person that you're codependent with starts to kind of flourish and do their own thing. Those are the relationships that don't tend to last. But we do have anger here. Fury has consumed your energy and clouded your judgment. Reclaim control by directing your energy towards happiness instead of clinging to past wounds. Interesting. Now that came out with dependent, right? And I keep picking up on codependency. You have judgment here on the bottom of the deck. You're trapped in a cycle of criticism towards yourself and others. Exactly. Blocking the growth that comes from compassion. Release the need to judge and find freedom in loving your authentic self. Wow. Holy crap. Like the way that all this is like coming full circle though is crazy. All right. So I'm going to pull from this last deck here, which is the Angel Answers, and we have helpful people, and I shuffled, and we also have no. Spirit's like no. Maybe I'm getting like, there are people in your life that are actually going to be helpful forces in your life and sources in your life, but you have to be able to use your discernment on who's who. I'm getting something along those lines just from those two cards from splitting the deck. So let's get like 3 or 4 from this deck, and that would be the end. I hope that you guys resonated with this message. This was a little bit of a different one when it comes to a love reading. I was expecting just to see a bunch of drama and like or a new person coming in, and I'm getting more like a self-love kind of journey, kind of healing thing. And there are people in your life that you had to like kind of push yourself away from and move forward from. You're working on yourself. So kudos to you guys though for understanding that this is what needed to be done. So this is definitely different when it comes to the love reading. Yeah, so maybe in a year from now something might happen. You guys probably can't see that, huh? Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see that. A little bit, I think you can see it. But yeah, so something might happen like in a year from now when it comes to love, which a year sounds like a long time, but like for instance, I was single for like almost 3 years. I didn't go on a date, nothing. No intimacy, nothing. I was celibate, everything. And then I was in a relationship, and it was nice. Like I was like, oh wow, like after all that time of being single and putting myself back out there finally, and it all like happened out of nowhere. Like it was nice. So, with that said, this could be something like that could happen with you guys, taking that step back and focusing on self, and then, allowing for that healing to happen. And then all of a sudden, randomly, you might meet somebody who could be like the love of your life. You don't know, right? And nothing ventured is nothing gained. So, yeah. You have no need to worry. No need to worry. And there's 3 cards here all together. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition. We talked about that before, right? You guys like really honing in on that. That was a big part of this message. And get more information. Those all came out together. So they're definitely saying like, as you allow for spirit to connect you with the right person. You'll feel when it's right. And for those who are not meant to be in your life in that way, you'll also pick up on that too. But there's no need to worry. When the time is right, you'll know. Let's get two more. And that'll be the end of this collective reading. Romance. Now, you know, it's ironic, and I told my son this prior to the reading. This deck, I try to keep all my decks like in rubber bands or something, or scrunchy or something like that. So as I was like, getting the decks, I went to like my little altar or whatever, and I was like just kind of chucking the decks that I felt like I wanted to use, and I chucked this one very very carefully, knowing that there was no scrunchie or anything around it, and like it landed like this, like with the words up, and all of the whole deck stayed together. The only thing that separated was the romance card. And I was like, ooh, I see where this is going. And my son was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I was like, yeah, I know. But spirit be talking like that. So it's just funny that that card came up, and we're saying like, something might happen in a year now or so from now, where there's going to be these changes and things like that. As I say changes, this situation will improve. My ear just went ringing like fucking crazy. Holy crap. When the card came up, it's like oh shit, that's crazy. Like the way that my ear just rang like crazy. First off, like a bunch of cards like kind of fell to the side, but they were all like still intact or whatever, and then that was the only card that flipped up in the deck. Holy shit. And then my ear just went crazy. So yeah, spirit definitely, let's get one more. Spirit wants you guys to know, like, yes, things might feel slow moving sometimes. You're like, damn, like when's it gonna be my turn? This is what I'm also hearing. Like, when's it gonna be my turn? Maybe like there's people in your life who, they're getting married, having kids, and you're just like, what about me? Like, I want the same. I want love and all that stuff. And, they're like, when it's time to take action, you will know. You'll know. And also, the person that's meant to be in your life is going to take action towards you. I'm getting something about like light and guidance. Like, literally, I see it. Like, I see the light. Not like, not like you're dying or you're on your deathbed or anything, but like, just like, I'm getting like when you meet this person, like, how like in like cheesy like romance movies and stuff, like there's like this aura light around like the person that like a person's supposed to meet and talk to and all that, and then all this romantic beautiful stuff happens in the movie. It's very cheesy, but like I am kind of seeing something like that. Like it's gonna be like so like you're just gonna be like doing your own thing, and all of a sudden like you're gonna bump into each other in a hallway or something like that at work, or like in the grocery store, like cutting the corner too close, and then like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then like you just like it's just gonna be like a moment. Like I'm seeing it in my mind's eye, and that person's almost gonna have like an aura or a spark about them, like where you're gonna be like, oh shit, there's something about this person. Yeah, we have ask for help from others here again. I'm getting like, not to be funny, I don't have to hire me or nothing, but like I'm getting like get a tarot reading or something about a person when you meet somebody who you feel like there could be a connection. I'm also getting like just kind of talking to friends and stuff like during this time as you're working on your healing and stuff like that. Like people who you are close to, who are of sound mind, who can help you when it comes to this phase of your life. I'm getting something like that as well. Abundance, I like that. So we have romance, abundance. Yes, I love that. And don't stop believing. It goes back to that star card that we saw more than once in this reading. Like things are gonna happen in their own time. It's definitely giving like divine timing kind of vibes, and I know it's so cliche for those of you who watch tarot, and it's like, how many times am I hear fucking divine timing? And it's definitely slightly annoying. I'm not even gonna hold you. I know it is. But the reality of the situation is we have no control. Like that's why when people like, ask about timelines, or, readers try to say, oh yeah, you're gonna meet this person in 6 weeks. Like, no, I don't believe in that bullshit. And I'm being honest. I'm not trying to, shide readers who do happen to say those kind of things, but I'm just being honest, because the reality is we are on God's time and divine timing, whatever you want to call it. Like, we have no control over those things. People have free will, and all these different things can constantly happen and shift and change, right? The only thing that's constant is change. So, you're watching this reading right now, and I say something like, "Oh, you're going to meet this person in 4 weeks," like, and then something happens, and in between time in your life or that person's life, and then you don't meet each other. Now I look like a liar, right? So, like, I don't believe in time frames and stuff. I just personally don't. There's so many things in my life that, like, even like I thought, like, certain things in my life, reading for myself, that I thought were going to happen a certain way, and they did not happen like that. They happened, but not like that. Right? Or not in that timing. So, like, with work and things like that. So it's like, that's just my firm belief. Don't shoot the messenger. So it's definitely giving me, just allow things to happen in divine order, divine timing. When the time is right, everything will be in alignment. And that's why this emphasis on your overall growth for yourself and what you're doing for yourself is so important and pivotal at this time, because that is going to be the catalyst, and that's going to be the thing that's going to allow for abundance and love and all that to flow in. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it makes not only does it make sense, but hopefully it resonates. I know this was like a little bit of a light reading in terms of how many people were able to show up. No worries, it's fine. Because, like I said, like, I started a reading and there was a bunch of people, and then, like, I started the reading over, and then this happened. So it's fine. I'm just happy that there are people who stuck around, and I feel like people did get something out of this. So with all that said, like I said, if you're new to the channel and you feel like you resonated with that overall message, being that this was just a collective, I really hope that you hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff to help support the channel. And if you have already been rocking with your girl for a while and you stuck around and you were here at all, hope you also did the same. Hit that like button, all that good stuff. And thank you for the continued support. So with all that said, I will be popping up again, hopefully relatively soon, sometime this week. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, I don't know. I need to come up with a schedule. But anywho, I love you guys, and thank you so much for being here and tapping in. And until next time, mwah, bye.